Hey everybody, how's it going? So I'm going to bring something up that I haven't brought up in a long time, and that would be, well, Eliza Blue, but I'm not going to use it against Tim by any means. In fact, I've squashed that kind of beef, not that we had beef, because he didn't know I existed, but I actually got a vast majority of my subscribers from that situation, and many of you might not know about it. I'm not really going to go over it, but before I do mention what I'm going to mention about it, please like, subscribe, and share. It helps me out more than anything. I don't ask for money. I'm not one of those beggars. All I need is to just grow the channel. That's all I care about. And thank you all so much for coming here. So anyway, James Lindsay here has literally accused Tim Pool of being a Marxist plant. This is pretty wild, okay? We'll watch the videos and stuff. But the reason why I'm going to bring up Eliza Blue has everything to do with here, okay? So James Lindsay has called him a Marxist plant has called Tim Pool a Marxist plant because he's deranged or intentionally sabotaging the right. Blindly calling everybody woke right has turned the term into garbled nonsense, and when anyone calls him out, he just adds them to the list. And that's an issue that we've been seeing with James Lindsay. Like, I've been ignoring James Lindsay for the most part because he's just so absolutely irrelevant. It's actually silly, but he keeps going and going and going, and it seems like he's kind of he kind of seems to be falling into that same group as Candace Owens. I don't know for sure yet exactly what he's trying to say when it comes to all that stuff. I'm going to find out. He may have already chosen a side. I don't know, but it just seems like it's in that vein. But we'll see. We'll actually see what happens. I'm not going to point fingers yet, unlike Candace, until I actually get some evidence. But here's the thing. I've accused Tim Pool of stuff in the past, right? When the whole Eliza Blue debacle went down. Now, I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I think of it and why I've pretty much chosen to squash it, because I don't think Tim Pool is actually doing anything too crazy nefarious. While I do still think he lied, I think I understand now why, and it should have been obvious then, but it's obvious to me now. And I'm not going to, look, I have no evidence whatsoever. And if this is true, it really is nobody's business but these two people's. I think Shane Cashman was having an affair with Eliza Blue. And I think Tim wanted to kind of squash it because he probably either didn't go all the way through with it or, things happened. I'm sure him and his wife would have figured everything out. And if she forgives him, she forgives him. It's all that good stuff. And if that's really what happened, I just don't care to get in the middle of that. It has nothing to do with anything. So thinking about that, I was just like, look, first of all, I don't know. It's probably not as big of a deal as I thought it would have been. But second of all, we have bigger fish to fry. We need to fix this country. And I don't want to do any infighting. The problem is people like Candace Owens are really creating waves and trying to infight. It seems intentional to me. And James Lindsay seems to be doing that same type of stuff. Check it out.
Yes, it's this transgressive. Also, they know good and damn well that there are certain transgressions you can't come home from. You go too far down that road, there's no way back. And not because your new friends are going to call you names like a sellout or a cuck or dual loyalties or whatever. There are certain lines you go down and you don't get to come back. And they know that. So they
That's a little ridiculous. I mean, we give people second chances all the time.
get to trap people there. But this, I believe, and we will probably or possibly disagree on this, I think that there are particular malevolent actors that are pushing this who have grander designs than getting clicks, getting an audience, satisfying their own narcissistic urges, transgressing boundaries. I think that and it makes total sense if I were to say China's supporting all of it, and if I had evidence, you'd believe
Iran.
me. Oh, China, Iran, Qatar, Pakistan, like the Arab League, Russia.
Okay, well, he might not necessarily be pro-Candace. I don't know. He's talking crap on Qatar and Tucker. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, right?
And the deep state, possibly. Trump is a problem to something. We can tell by the way that they've organized the Trump derangement program that's just screwed Canada royally, but has deranged Americans. I have family members I can barely relate with still because of Trump derangement. I was obviously cast out in disgrace from the last vestiges of the left when I said I was going to vote for Trump and said publicly on a podcast, Make America Great Again. They lost their minds and said I went crazy. And so Trump is something, right? There is a lot of reasons besides just the fact that he's the sitting president of the United States of America. He's doing a lot of things to this global order that are disruptive and in a good way, in all likelihood. There's a lot of motivation to take this man down. And if you can fragment his base by getting them to argue about Israel good, Israel bad, that's a deep cut that you've just taken and cloven MAGA in half.
So he's kind of making some good points here, but the problem is again, when he's called out, when James Lindsay is called out at all for anything, he calls people Marxists. It's kind of interesting.
So all it takes is one event, something that goes down in Israel, and Trump takes a side, takes the Israeli side, and bang, they can pull the thing apart.
Now, see, this is where you lose me, because he kept saying that something like this would happen and it would start a big war, and then that event happened and it didn't actually start a war, and that was really funny to watch.
So it's like a wedge. It's not just what we were saying. It's also a wedge to hammer deeper and deeper and deeper into MAGA, the people who like Israel and the people who don't, or the conservative movement, or America itself, which therefore implicates the left side doing the same exact thing at the same exact time.
Please stop doing that with your hand, man. I don't need to watch a full-grown man do that in public.
Using the horrible events of October 7th as their pretext.
Okay. Anyway, so he's saying that he called this and a year ago, which is silly. Now she says, when hostile forces want to bring disarray to society and overthrow a political regime, they always start by opening a hole to creep through the ideological field by confusing people's thoughts. From a 2006 manual published by China's Central Propaganda Department, you need to familiarize yourself with this kind of Cold War mentality and heed Yuri Bezmenov's, good lord, that's a hard one to say, warnings about ideological subversion. You will then recognize the CCP's international activities for what it is and reconcile that with what you are seeing in the discourse, and that's how it's affecting domestic politics. What you are seeing and experiencing is not entirely organic. And, you know, it's hard to tell what exactly is and is not organic these days anyway. So anyway, he responds, James Lindsay also called me a Marxist, and we went over this, right? Anyway, so she said, what's this about? Why is Tim a Marxist plant? And he said, James is desperate for some kind of merit, a reason for being in the political sphere. His desperation became notable when he had tricked a small Christian nationalist blog into publishing an article modeled on Marx. The issue is that these guys were nobodies with very few followers' influence. He has since stopped spamming Christian nationalists and started calling anyone who disagrees with him one of them Marxists, woke right, etc. It's turned the term into garbled nonsense. James is a liberal, and he is using the same tactics the woke left used, such as labeling people alt-right, if they are opposed to your worldview. Forgot the why there, Tim. This is the cult-like adherence to the liberal orthodoxy. I'm glad I messed that up right after I did that. I deserve that. Which characterized wokeness. Though everyone has an argument about which facet of woke they did not like, this is overreaching theme or the critique. James is doing this. He just pulled the "it's not my job to educate you" characteristic of the woke. Now he has posts recently bragging about how they are intentionally using woke right and the way the left used alt-right to falsely malign conservatives as white nationalists. You guys notice that every single person's infighting now? Tim Pool's fighting with James Lindsay. Quartering me and Steven Crowder and so many other people infighting with Candace Owens. Lots of infighting with Tucker Carlson. Actually, Tucker Carlson would be infighting with Ben Shapiro. Okay, and Nick Fuentes, of course, is there stirring it all up. Like, nobody sees what's going on. This is getting out of control. This is all getting out of control. And while I would like to take a side in this, I can understand why Tim is upset, because they slightly disagree, and all of a sudden James Lindsay's like, you're a plant, you're woke right. And he's been going on this woke right thing for over a year now. And it's genuinely getting pathetic, because it's anybody who just disagrees with him slightly, and he snaps. Didn't he block Sargon of Akkad for Sargon just lightly disagreeing with him? And Sargon didn't even know it? He was just like, what the heck? Why would he do that? You know? Let me see. I'm pretty sure it was Sargon of Akkad that James Lindsay blocked, right? What was it over? Why did James Lindsay block Sargon? See if I can pull it all up. Blocked Carl Benjamin Sargon of Akkad. This was in 2024. This was a little longer. I thought this was earlier this year. Amid an escalating public feud over ideological differences, particularly criticism of the woke right, a term he used to describe what he sees as identity-based or collectivist tendencies emerging from the political right, which he views as a mirror of leftist woke ideology. The only ones I see doing that are the pro-Palestinian people. Though they're losing their minds. Like, I don't mean people that just choose to be in support of Palestine because they've seen like stuff. I'm talking about the actual pro-Palestinian people. They're the same on the right and the left. The ones who are like, we need to stop this genocide and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Those people who are like super duper advocating for all that. When it's like, hey, first of all, there's nuance. I don't know who's right and who's wrong. Second of all, we need to focus on America first. But the ones who think like we absolutely need to get involved and stop this, those people are going to be very similar to the people on the left. And it's kind of wild to me because they're so gung-ho about this when they don't even care about the other 5 genocides in the world that are much, much, much bigger. Balochistan, Uyghur Muslim concentration camp, Yemen, Turkey, and the Congo. And there's another one I can't remember. But Balochistan is the biggest open-air prison. Everyone talks about Palestine being an open-air prison. Balochistan, hello? It's like, it's almost the entire size of Pakistan. It's almost the entire freaking size. It's most of Pakistan. People don't know this stuff. You should look it up. Balochistan. Okay? It's pretty crazy. So, yeah, people don't know what's actually going on in the world. They just care about, optics and, their team. Anyway, a term he used to describe... Yeah, we got all this. So, anyway, the block appears to have occurred around early 2024 following a podcast debate where tensions boiled over. Though Lindsay has unblocked and reblocked Benjamin multiple times since. I didn't know about that part. That's very funny. Often in response to heated exchanges. Background on their views. Both Lindsay and Benjamin... Okay, yeah, I don't care about their backgrounds, so... Anyway, that's very, very funny. Let me see. Is James Lindsay currently blocking Sargon? I gotta know. Is he currently blocked? No, James Lindsay is not currently blocking Sargon on X as of November 16th, 2025. Oh, I thought they unblocked today. Okay. I just one more question. When did he unblock Sargon? Because I still got one more message I got to send for a show from Tim. Oh, he did unblock him in December of 2024. Oh, okay. While I'm at it, unblock Sargon, and it's like I got visited by the Ghost of Christmas Future or something. This followed an initial block around February 2024. Okay, so he had him blocked all year long and then unblocked him December 1st. So he's been unblocked all of 2025. I really thought he had blocked him in 2025. Has it really been that long, guys? Am I that old now? Am I losing time, like a sense of time? So anyway, here's him blaming Tim Pool, saying that Tim Pool's a Marxist. Tim Pool is one of them. If you hadn't figured it out yet, Marxists always lie. This was October 31st. And he said, unfortunately for you, James Lindsay has done everything in his power to undermine what you wrote by making woke right mean literally every conservative ideology. And then he replied here. I'm guessing he's got another account that he can, like, screenshot James Lindsay. I bet James Lindsay has Tim Pool blocked. I'll have to see. So, anyway, he consistently accomplishes important goals for them used to work for Vice, was prominent in Occupy, and is bigger than makes any sense. Plausibly a plant. Wow, that is so insulting, James. You are such a fraction of Tim's audience, too. It just doesn't make sense. I'm just jealous that he's that much bigger. I think it makes perfect sense. I've never once accused Candace of anything like that. Simply because I know exactly how she got big. I was there. She was the only female black conservative on YouTube. Quote unquote, anyway. Right after she was a left-winger. Literally months. She was an extreme left-winger who doxed kids with her company, Degree 180, using their website, Social Autopsy. And then after she got caught and everyone screamed at her pretty much for it, saying that was awful. She decided, oh, well, I just instantly, I'm not a leftist anymore, and I'm a pro-Trump person. Yay, Red Pill Black, and created her channel. Literally, that's what her channel was named. Red Pilled Black. Or Red Pill Black, actually. That she stole from Coach Red Pill, because at the time, he was pretty popular. Anyway, all that to say, people don't know about that stuff. And what happened with Tim Pool is nowhere near the same, because Tim Pool, in all of 2016, all the way to 2020, did not vote for Trump. Didn't care to vote for Trump. 2020 is whenever he voted for Trump. Okay? But he was not advocating for Trump until like 2 or 3 years into Trump's presidency. He was going third party. And I believe even during 2019, he was saying he was going to go third party anyway. And then when he saw everything happening with the lockdowns, he was like, we have to vote Trump. We have to, you know? At least I'm pretty sure. Maybe the first time he actually voted Trump was 2024. I could be wrong about that. And if so, you know, so be it. But that goes to show that, yeah, Tim Pool has not ever been very often a Trump guy at all, and he never really pretended to be like Candace. I think there's a big difference. But what do you guys think? Tell me down in the comments section below. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you guys here in the next one. Later.